Hi, I'm Steve Samson, chef and owner of Rossoblu restaurant and Superfine Pizza in downtown LA. Today I'm going to be making one of our favorite dishes at Rossoblu, Valbruna's eggplant, named after my best friend's mom who taught me this dish in Bologna, Italy. It's a dish of marinated eggplant with tomato sugo, parmigiano reggiano, and basil. This is a classic Italian cooking, not too many ingredients, but just really nice ingredients handled well and all the flavors really come through. We have an eggplant, which we've sliced thinly on a slicer. You can use a mandolin at home if you don't have a meat slicer. We have some tomato sugo, parmigiano reggiano, basil, good olive oil, salt, pepper, that's about it. I'm gonna start by making the tomato sugo, and that's just gonna be a sliced onion. It's gonna be basically a basic tomato sauce. That you then just let reduce on a really low heat until it becomes very reduced. I'm just gonna start with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. I have these onions. Start to sweat them down and just season it with a little bit of salt. I like to season it every step to develop layers of flavor. Usually like to cook the onions on a little bit of a lower heat to really start to melt them. Once they get translucent, start to melt, it usually takes about 10 minutes or so. So I'm gonna let those cook down for a little bit. In the meantime, I'm gonna start cooking my eggplant. The eggplant will absorb a lot of oil, but at this point you don't really need to add too much oil to the pan. And I'm just gonna give them a quick sear. Just gonna season it with a little bit of salt. You really don't need to cook this very long. You just really wanna sear it through on each side. It's very thin, so it's gonna take maybe a minute to cook. Once it's cooked, we're gonna add it right to the marinade, which is really simple. Just extra virgin olive oil and some basil leaves. And the eggplant will really absorb those flavors, especially if you put it in while it's warm. So we're just gonna lay it flat in here. And this is enough oil to do at least a whole eggplant, if not more. So at the restaurant, we'll cook we'll go through about 10 eggplants a day. Yes, it's a really popular dish on the menu. I'm just gonna add some passed tomato. We just take fresh California canned tomatoes, pass them through a food mill. And this would be basically as if you were making a tomato sugo for pasta. At this point, we would season it, maybe throw some basil leaves in there. So once the oil has been drained off of the eggplant, it's ready to plate. Everything's been seasoned, ready to go. You should taste everything, including the eggplant, to taste the seasoning. The eggplant can be a little delicate, so you have to be kind of careful when you peel it off. When we do larger parties, we actually use either a Japanese or a Chinese eggplant. They have a little bit easier to handle when they're cooked. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a slice of eggplant and kind of just fold it over so it looks nice on the plate. And then I'm just gonna kind of go around and keep doing that. Make little ribbons. This. So this is kind of a play on it's a lighter version of like an eggplant parmigiano. It's not fried and breaded. So it's a really nice light dish for the summer. When we put it on the menu, we didn't have any idea how popular it would be, but we actually have a photo of Valbruna, who's my best friend's mom, holding a dish wearing a Rossoblu apron at the restaurant. She's very cute. So this is our tomato sugo. Just gonna put little dollops around the dish. And these are just really classic flavors. The tomato, the eggplant, the basil, Parmesan cheese, it all goes together really well to create this really kind of classic dish. I thought this eggplant needed a little salt, so I'm just going to put some sea salt, fleur de sel right on top of it. This is grated Parmigiano Reggiano. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on, and we're also going to just use some shaved parm as well. I don't like dishes to look overly complicated or thought out, so just let the Parmesan kind of fall where it may. And again, just same with the basil. This is just some fresh basil. Just gonna tear it. Just let it fall on the plate. Really adds a nice freshness to the dish. And tomato, basil, eggplant, again, these are really just classic taste flavor combinations that go together really well. Pretty much every bite should have a nice piece of basil in it, so I'm not gonna skimp on that. And that's it. And we're gonna have some really nice extra virgin olive oil, finishing oil. Just drizzle it on top, just to really add that last burst of flavor and freshness. And that's our Valbruna's eggplant with tomato sugo, Parmigiano Reggiano, and basil.